Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Strike 48's webinar series. Number 2 is today. And the topic, very interesting topic, how agentic red teaming adds real value in under 5 minutes. Now, this is a very interesting topic typically for our MSSPs, but for all of your clients as well. And that's why we thought this is a very important meeting that you should have with us. So next slide, please. Before we get started, I would like to talk about some housekeepings. Questions, Q&A, please use the panel at the bottom of your screen. We will answer questions live during the discussion as well as at the end. The recording is available. We will send the recorded session to all registrants within the next 24 hours. And please, we really encourage you to request your own or your live demo one-on-one with us, with the team, to see more details. And also very important for us moving forward, as this is a webinar series, we would like to know if there are any topics that you want us to cover moving forward in the future. Please reach out to us. Let us know what the most pressing topic for you is, and we will come up with an own webinar for that. And please, again, on questions, that they're very important for us. And next slide, please. So the team is growing. The company has invested and keeps investing a lot, not only in the product and innovation, but also in the team. My name is Abdes Afras. I'm a global head of our MSSPs and always available for our MSSPs here. Then we have Tim Lehealy, who's going to be the presenter today and giving us the demo. He's a VP Strategy and Operations, as well as the co-founder of Strike 48. Just a new addition to the team, Tyler Gerolf. He's in charge of Americas, looking after our MSSPs. There is Kennedy. She's in charge of our operations. You will see emails coming from her trying to organize sessions for you. Then there is Jael Jose. He's our head of professional services. He's going to help us to make your environments in a safer place or in a better place. So we will also be setting up more meetings with Jael's team. And last but not least, Aaron Dunn, our head of marketing, who's going to work with you on creating our go-to-market for the new offerings with Strike 48. With that, I will hand over to Tim. Tim, please take over.
All right. Thank you very much, Abdes. And thank you, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate your time. So before I go to the next slide and jump into the crux of this presentation, I do want to encourage everybody to really take advantage of the resources that are on the screen. We are working very hard to make sure that you have what you need to be successful. Jael reports directly to me. We are doing a whole bunch of efforts to make sure your environments are as robust as they possibly can be. We fully recognize that you are our primary tool in terms of reaching the market. So we are about enabling that. We want to be successful together. As I told you on the last webinar, we really have no way to get to market other than successfully through you guys. So we're investing a fair amount at enabling you. Now, we have thought through a number of webinar topics. We have a whole series coming, but the goal is really just to make you guys successful. So if we're not hitting the mark, let us know. Redirect us. In fact, this presentation is about effectively a free service we would like to give to you guys so you guys can better market yourselves within each of your respective regions. But maybe you'll find at the end of this presentation, maybe you'll be like, hey, Tim, red teaming is super compelling, but it doesn't match our environment. We would benefit from something more like this or something more like that. We need that feedback. We cannot be successful without you. I can't say that enough times. So please grab a hold of Abdes, grab a hold of me. I am a very responsive guy. Grab a hold of Jael, any one of us, and get us the information we need in order to ensure that you are successful. So with that, I'm going to jump into my presentation, my prepared remarks. This slide is not about red teaming per se, but it is the crux of why we are doing what we are doing. Your market, this slide is about the MSSP market in general. And it is a very difficult market. We acknowledge that. We fully see the challenges you guys face. There are over 35,000 vendors globally in the MSSP market, and it is only growing. It takes a long time to land a customer, on average over 18 months. It costs a lot in terms of human capital, in terms of running proof of concepts, in terms of advertising, marketing. It is a tough market, guys, right? And we have all seen the aggressive shift to Agentic, and I referred to this in our last webinar series, how this is impacting the MSSP market specifically. On the one hand, it is an incredible opportunity. The technologies that we now have at our fingertips in order to add value to our customers are unlike anything we've ever had. However, some vendors are positioning those technologies as reasons to no longer utilize MSSPs, which is, in our opinion, just completely the wrong approach. We view them as accelerators of you guys, but only if together we embrace them. And part of that is trying to explore not only how we can use the Agentic SOC, which we've shown you guys either in individual meetings or in the previous webinar, but how we can expand beyond that. What additional services can you bring to your customers to change any one of these dynamics, rise above the other 35,000 competitors, lower the cost of grabbing a customer, reduce the length of the sales cycle, close a higher percentage of deals. Any one of these could transform our joint go-to-market. And that is really what we are trying to present here. Again, what I'm presenting today is our red teaming tool. It is just one idea, guys. If it's not an idea you think will land well in your market, communicate that back to us and tell us what you think would be powerful for you. What agentic extensions to what we can do within Strike 48 will really hit powerfully in your area of the world. If we look at the traditional sort of approach to getting a customer, there are serious flaws with it. I mean, it's the best we can do. We all get the difficulties of winning a customer in the MSSP space. Most of those contracts are several years. 3 years probably is a reasonable average, if not a little bit longer. But as a function of that, the sales cycle is incredibly long and expensive. And the key part you are trying to do, and I apologize if I come across as arrogant, you guys know your business better than I do. But from my observations, the key distinction is establishing credibility. How do you guys, as the MSSP, as the security expert in your region, distinguish yourself above competitive offerings? Because, like, if you think about it, the end consumer is not nearly as educated in the area of security as you are. So it may be difficult for them to distinguish your superior skill level relative to maybe the superior marketing of some of your competitors. In our mind, one path forward here to try to break this dynamic, to have our combined efforts float above, is with Strike Kit. Strike Kit is a red teaming solution. It has a number of different facets. Sometimes I get called out on calling it a red team. It has pen testing capabilities. It's got vulnerability assessment capabilities. It's a little bit of a hodgepodge of capabilities, but it is effectively agenticizing some core pen testing, red teaming type activities. And it enables you as an MSSP to prove value very quickly. So I will show you later on an email I received from one of the customers that we worked with early on in this process. To be fair, the product was only in alpha. But the key criteria we gave to that customer was to try to try to sort of answer whether or not we had landed value in under 10 minutes. And I will show you the email, but in fact, we were successful. So the concept is with StrikeKit, you can roll in either on your laptop or potentially give away, a testing service to them, test their guest network, do run an external pen test, any number of free services you can do. If lucky, maybe you have a partnership, a friendship with the client, and you can show them an internal pen test really quickly and just wow them in a very short period of time with the goal of distinguish yourself credibility wise, establish yourself as really forward leaning in the agentic space, and rise above the other 35,000 participants in this market. Again, I'm not going to tell you I understand your market better than you do. Please keep an open mind to this tool, play with it, see what you think. I will demo for you later on here. But my end goal, my success of this webinar, my real, okay, I did it moment will be if you guys are sufficiently open-minded that you're willing to just play around with the solution. Again, no money's changing hands. Just get a hold of it. Say, Tim, Abdes, I'd like to play around with that. I see some potential. And let us enable you and let us show you what we think it can do for you in terms of distinguishing you in your market. What is StrikeKit? I've described it sort of a little bit already. This is a dashboard image. I'll show you it live. But it is effectively the agentic control of a number of sort of pen testing, vulnerability assessment, network scanning type tools in order to deliver, if you will, a red teaming like solution. You can run it. You can prove value with it, as I told you in the one example, in under 10 minutes. But even when it stretches longer than that, you can really run it comprehensively in the middle of a sales call, right? Maybe there needs to be a little setup, but if you're on their guest network, for example, you can pull this out. You can have it installed on your network, connect to their guest network, and show them the capabilities of it. It is a compelling solution. It's something that's actually somewhat fun to watch. And it can be a little bit addictive. You can get the end customer wanting to try it out themselves. I ran it personally on my mother's network, and I was able to get root control of her iRobot, that little vacuum that vacuums up her rug automatically. It was engaging. So I do think it lands the goal of making us together seem like we are forward leaning in the agentic sort of journey. And I do think it is really compelling to a customer in terms of the visuals it generates, in terms of the reports it generates, in terms of just how it works. So again, proof of the pudding is in the eating. Raise your hand, say, Tim, yes, I'd like to explore it and see what it can do for me. And we will love to embrace you in that journey. The other thing that it is really not sort of what we are about here. It's not what the core message of this webinar is. The core message of this webinar is using the tool to establish credibility, deliver really quick value. But it is a fully capable enterprise solution. So If you think building an agentic pen testing service around it is something that is compelling to you, we would love to explore that with you. Some service offering where you can continuously provide reports, provide value to your customers so they can respond to the ever-changing security landscape, and do it in a really compelling way, again, agentically. A little bit more proactively, if you will, than the traditional, hey, we're running a SIM, we're firing on alerts, we're following up and responding as quickly as possible. Not to demean that that is the critical part of a SOC, but this is a little bit more proactive. Okay, what is Strike Kit in our minds? Again, told you it's a fully contained AI red teaming solution, but this is the point I would really drive home. It is a pre-sales, if we're doing this right, and only you will be the judge of that, but it is intended to be a pre-sales superpower. That is our whole goal, to give you something that can land credibility, that can distinguish you, and do so at zero cost, both to you and to the end customer. It has a lot of true enterprise class features that really go beyond what your typical sort of starting pen test engagement might be. It provides full audit trail, which is really compelling. I'll show you how it does that. It is entirely sort of compliant. It has compliance-ready reports, both for technical or executives, even auditors. And it does provide actionable information. So again, and can do also all of that relatively quickly. Core capabilities of the tool. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to show you it. I'll take you through the process of setting up an engagement, but it has, as I've told you, sort of a smattering of critical capabilities necessary to run basic red teaming solution. I have, if you looked at my LinkedIn post, I have a sort of an ongoing feud with a pen tester, and he's sort of always besmirching the capabilities of agentic pen testing, agentic red teaming. And I don't want to oversell the capabilities here. Again, raise your hand, play with it. I think it's very impressive, but certainly I'm not saying your best red teaming expert couldn't do better than this tool. But the point is, this tool can land value extremely quickly and is perhaps the lead-in for your best red team pen tester. If that guy is selling services at $100,000, $300,000, you don't want that guy engaged in the $20,000 gig, right? This is a perfect way to supplement that, to effectively even give away that service in order to seed the demand for the higher value skills that your internal services bring to bear. This is that email I was talking about. So our investor asked me to when I got involved in this organization over a year and a half ago at this point, they asked me to deliver a product that could produce value. Actually, they set the timeline as in under 15 minutes. And I had kept that in the back of my head for the longest time. Of course, our primary offering is agentic SOC, agentic log intelligence. And this is not to undermine any of that. But that takes a little bit more than 15 minutes to land. You guys know you got to get the logs. You got to go through a whole onboarding process. It's not day one value out the door. It is understand what they're trying to achieve, create the alerts, do the onboarding, blah, blah, blah. It's a process. I think what we deliver is fantastic. I think it delivers value really quickly, but it's certainly not in under 15 minutes. So we've gone down this agentic red teaming solution as a way of achieving the goal we promised our investors. And this is what we were told as a function of that. We delivered it to the IT of one of our investors, and he said, Tim, putting aside the idiosyncrasies of the install, guys, this was a alpha product when he handled it. You guys came in just under 8 minutes before you provided key findings that are informing the path forward. We were really excited about that. That is a genuine quote. It is unprompted. It is by somebody that had no incentive to do anything other than give us the truth, because he was going to be, if you will, evaluated on that. If he had said, hey, it was super and the tool was no good at all, he had exposure for that. So this is a real testament to the success of the product, at least in certain circumstances. Okay, so if we compare it, traditional pen testing versus Strike Kit, again, Strike Kit is not just a pen testing solution. It has a lot of pen testing capabilities. There's a lot of vulnerability scanning capabilities. It has red teaming capabilities. It is a hodgepodge. If you sort of say, well, oh, in our pen testing, we do X, Y, and Z, and Strike Kit doesn't do that, so it's not pen testing. Again, you'd be missing the point of what we're trying to deliver here. Traditional pen testing takes 3 to 6 months to do really well. Maybe you have a relationship with the customer, maybe you can spin it up quickly, but it is, in any event, in all circumstances, a many-day exercise. It is an expensive exercise, both for you from a headcount resource perspective, as well as what you have to end up charging the customer. It's a meaningful engagement. Lots of contracts get signed, lots of SLAs get agreed to, all this kind of stuff. You certainly can't do it in the context of a sales call. It's not an under 10 minutes thing. Uh, and ultimately, and I think this ends up being a big distinguisher between what we can provide in Strike Kit versus what typically gets delivered in a pen test. Pen testing comes across as a little bit of a black box. They'll say, hey, you have these vulnerabilities or these issues, or we ran through these basic steps, but you really don't get the exact audit trail of everything they do. And that shines really clearly through with Strike Kit. And I will show that again when we get to the demo portion of this. But you'll be able to see, not only when you run it, that it's literally showing you every step it's going through, but ultimately it generates timeline reports to you, MITRE tracking reports for you. It really breaks down the full analysis it provided in a really intuitive form factor. So you get the ability to sort of go and not only land value quickly, but then land value in a way that is very consumable by the end customer, which ultimately, hopefully, delivers our goal of providing credibility. That's again what we're after here, augmenting your credibility. The point I'm making here is we are trying to partner with you, right? We are trying to give you this service, engage you in utilizing this product so you can go do lead generation. 45 days, play with it as much as you want. If you're not totally happy with it, play another 45 days. At the end of the 90 days, it's not like we're saying, okay, go ahead and pay us money. No, the only time we would want to turn around and have a commercial conversation with you is if you were going to try to build a long-term agentic ongoing service where you're providing continuous agentic pen testing for your customers, which, by the way, is something we would love to engage with you guys in. We think there is real value. We think that is the direction that market is going. Because, of course, if you're constantly pen testing, if you're constantly red teaming against the network, you're exploiting the most well-known, the most utilized tactics and techniques against that network. And that only results in a stronger security posture for your customers. So if you are interested in working with us to develop that kind of service, we would love to empower you. But right now, what we're talking about is enabling you to establish credibility and improve your sales cycle, and that comes at no cost. So we have some people that are utilizing this, so we have a few data points that we can share with you. The winning a deal live in a room actually was me personally, so not an MSSP. So maybe I exaggerated here a little bit, or at least procreated a story. But let me tell you exactly what happened there. I went into a customer. I was selling this type of capability, and I got sort of the, well, prove it. Well, show me how good this is. I had this exact computer, the one I am demoing for you guys on my possession. It's the computer I'm always using. And I said, okay, well, can I have access to your guest network? Which, of course, they were more than happy to give. And I ran the agentic pen testing on their network. And interestingly enough, their CFO or COO or somebody very high up in the org had plugged an internal printer into the guest network. And I was able to not only find that printer, but get access to it. So it was a really compelling live in the room demo. I can vouch for it completely. I was the one that ran it, and it was very exciting. The customer was really compelled and allowed me actually go the next step, which was get this deployed on their network and start playing around more meaningfully. And it does really, if you are able to land this, it does meaningfully increase the speed at which you can establish credibility, distinguish yourself, and thereby close the deals. But again, it's market specific, it's process specific. Hopefully, this is just another arrow in your quiver, and you guys see it as us really trying to partner with you guys to deliver this new agentic message together. That is what this is about. And hopefully, frankly, it gives you the opportunity to expand your service portfolio. Our hope is to deliver a sort of virtuous cycle. We can utilize this technology to increase the number of leads that we can move more quickly through the process, but build credibility and ultimately convert deals faster, which, as we know, feeds the process. If Now, we have partnered with some of the most distinguished MSSPs in each of their region, but we all know we're fighting a lot of big dogs out there, a lot of big providers that sort of have either captive accounts or some halo perception because of their association with other large corporations. That's a difficult fight. But the more customers we can win, the more customers we get singing our praises, the more leads we get, and you get this virtuous cycle. And we do think this tool could be a valuable instrument in increasing the speed at which that flywheel turns, if you will. Again, free, real findings very quickly, hopefully faster deal sales cycle. I've said this many times to you guys. I will say it again here. We could not be more honest about our desire to partner with you in your markets. This is a statement to us. We have spent a lot of time building this tool, and we're not looking for money for it. We are looking for engagement with it. But if you are like, hey, listen, this is compelling to us, we'd like to see what additional you guys are willing to do, we would love to have that conversation with you. We would love to run events, red teaming events with you. We'd love to run agentic SOC events with you. We'd love to build awareness around your brand. We recognize that together we are better than either one of us separately. Of course, we are promoting our own brand, but we have no avenue to end customers other than with you. And we would love to be dragging you up anytime we're spending money promoting our brand in your region. We'd love to be promoting yours as well. So please engage us. Let us I'm quoting that great Jerry Maguire scene, let us, or help me help you. Do you know what I mean? That is really what this whole webinar series is about. And hopefully you guys will come to embrace that. And you can do that by suggesting topics, suggesting things that you think might work, suggesting events, taking this product and saying, hey, if you tweaked it this way or that way, it would be more valuable in my market, or whatever. The more information you give us, the more you engage us, the better we can service you. So having said all that, let me jump into my demo here. I'm going to escape out of this and I'm going to open up, actually, I'm going to open up two things. So to give you a little idea of how this all works, um, this is Strike Hub. It's a desktop application. It can actually run. We actually have a Android version of this. So if you wanted to deploy it onto an Android, you could. You could. That's in alpha, by the way, guys. Don't. Um, but uh, but it sits on the target machine. So, oh, excuse me, it sits on the practitioner machine. So in my case, anything my laptop has access to, this solution, this Strike Hub solution can run against. Pick is the underlying tool set I can utilize as part of that sort of scanning or whatever analysis of the underlying resources that the computer has access to. You can see some of the core sort of easy click button capabilities we can utilize. Um, but uh, but all of this is much more manual, right? And a lot of people shy away from allowing us to run this sort of unsupervised in an environment because it's effectively letting an AI go a little bit nuts in your environment. We take this tool to a lot of hacking conferences, and always the first concern we get is, I don't trust your AI. I don't want to see your AI having these tools inside my network, so I'm not going to utilize this, right? That is an underlying fair concern about PIC. That is, however, mitigated when you combined it with Strike Kit. Strike Kit runs entirely out of our Prospector Studio site. When you have it properly configured with a Strike Hub or Pick or whatever it is you have downloaded, you will get this apps section. In that, you will find Strike Kit. Strike Kit is, if you will, the enterprise layer that allows you to inform and control how the AI goes about utilizing those end tools to execute a red teaming or whatever different engagements you wanted it to take part in. So I'm going to quickly well, actually, let's do this. Let's first show you what it's like to create an engagement, because some of the questions that get answered when we create an engagement sort of give you a good idea of what we'll look at. But you can see I've already run one here, and I'll take you through the various elements of that. But in the engagement tab, you can create a new engagement. It's super simple. And you can see, choose a template. Do I want to do an internal network pen test? Do I want to do an external pen test? Again, this is something you can sort of do willy-nilly for somebody. A web application full red team, full scope. You can see the different options that we have or you can start a blank with no template. But we'll just go internal network pen testing. And again, I would encourage you to just, if you're engaged, download this, raise your hand, we'll enable you on it, and play with all the different versions. They're all very compelling. So we'll give this a name, demo. And we have the engagement type is internal pen test here. So you can fill out these fields if you want. They'll be part of the report at the end, but for demo purposes, no need. Now I have to select my objectives, right? Based on the type of type of engagement I selected, it's going to suggest some, but you can create your own if you want. You could add an objective here manually. You can go, obtain root on any machine. And sorry, I accidentally clicked delete, but I'm not going to add this anyway. You could click add and it would add it. But let's just go ahead and achieve domain admin, and we're good. So now we go to the next thing, scope. Scope is where you really can distinguish yourself, if you will, from more freewheeling, if you will, agentic pen testing solutions. You can see this is, I think, simplistically thought through, but also well thought through, meaning it's easy to utilize. It's, I think, visually pretty straightforward. You can add objectives, sort of primary expected objectives are selected here. You could remove one. If you want to remove persistence, you could go ahead and click that, and that's now out of scope. You can also scope the IP range that you want to use. This is critical because if you run into a customer that is AI phobic or even AI cautious, they are going to want to ensure that this thing has a very limited IP scope range. So you got to enter something here. I will just do this. .0/24 and out of scope. You could enter google.com, whatever, you can add the out of scope. So I'm going to add the in scope. I'll add the out of scope. And then scope mutability. Are you going to allow it to change the scope as the process goes forward? We're not going to allow that. We're just going to go to the next here. Finally, this is, I think, a really compelling screen because, again, it sort of speaks to the enterprise class grade of this. What noise level do I want? If you get engaged in a sort of discussion with pen testers, they'll say, hey, no, a true red teamers will be like, the art of this is the stealth. We have the blue team on the other side. And that is absolutely true. That is really valuable stuff. If you can produce that slow moving compromise and really evade their detection technologies, that has real value. But there's real value across the spectrum here. If you're able to find key vulnerabilities in aggressive speed over stealth mode, there are still things that absolutely need to be patched in that network, need to be addressed. Yes, you probably fired a ton of alerts when you selected this. And yes, if there was an active blue team, they might have picked up on this. But that's not the point. The point is, are we able to find things that need to be cleaned up in the customer's network? And when we do sort of aggressive, we absolutely can. Are there things we want to prohibit? Yeah, we never want to engage in a denial of service. We may never want to sort of do any social engineering or whatever. You can add whatever you want. Operating mode. Autonomous, guided, manual. Again, it depends sort of how you want to run it. But if you're trying to run it on the guest network like I did that one time, you want autonomous because you just want it to blow through everything. And then escalations, are you going to have it ask every time, anytime scope is changed, notify only? So whatever. And then we go to next. Those are all the key fields. It would ask you to review it. You would create the engagement, and then you would go execute it. No need to do that. I have already done that here in my sort of test one engagement. And you can get to your old tests just here. But you can see in this case, I chose a number of different objectives. Of the 9 that were selected, only 6 were achieved. There were 13 targets found. I found 3 credentials. Anyway, you can scroll through sort of the executive summary of everything that happened. You can, when you actually run it, and you go to execution, it's really compelling to watch. Even when you go to planning, the first thing you do after you create an engagement is you come to the planning thing and if you will, you have the AI build based on your objectives an engagement plan. And it really sets the standard for everything that's about to happen. So in my case, it said phase 1, it's going to do network discovery, phase 2, port and service emulation, phase 3, vulnerability assessment, phase 4, where it gets fun, exploitation. Again, when I knocked over my mom's iRobot, certainly cool to watch. Phase 5, post-exploitation and lateral movement. Now, this is constrained maybe by the scoping you gave it. Maybe you're allowing it to really walk across a customer's network. This can be really compelling. The AI can drop a sort of pivot point and continue its investigation to some other sub portion of the network. Again, really powerful stuff, but all constrained in an enterprise package that ensures the AI doesn't run wild, and hopefully your end customer stays comfortable with the engagement. When it executes, you get to see it running through. You'll see sort of when it was building the context for networks discovery, when it ran network discovery, everything that sort of happened, when it did validating network output, everything that happened. Anyway, you see all the different parts of the engagement that took place as part of this plan. You can go see the objectives, which ones were accomplished. You can see it achieved 6. And those are these: network discovery, port emulation, vulnerability assessment, blah, blah, blah. You can read through them. And again, I apologize. I'm speed running a little bit here because I do want to save a few minutes for questions. And I can see I'm running up against the time. But let me hit a few more things that I think are cool. You can see the targets it found. Again, this was run really on the Devo network after hours. A bunch of the computers were shut down, but you can see it found sort of random speakers lying around. It found the VoIP device. It found an iPad. I was pretty happy with it, given every other computer was effectively off. This I thought was super fun. Uh, it found credentials. It found admin admin and user 123 and admin admin, or sort of abbreviated admin admin. Anyway, really cool. I've actually seen it even obtain compromise a Postgres database because they left it sort of Postgres 123, I think is the default password there. It was able to enumerate all the tables in the database. Really cool stuff. Findings, ultimately, here are the critical findings. Here are the high findings. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that you can show the end customer that gets generated relatively quickly, again, depending on the scope of the engagement. Kill chain, all the steps it went through, everything that happened, timeline. I love this. Look, so this is the March 26th run. Look, you can click on this. Like you never get this in when you're sort of talking to pen testers. This will show you literally everything that it did, the full commands it ran. I mean, the auditability here is just incredible. Speaking of which, here's the actual audit logs. Again, totally comprehensive. You can download this, export it as a CSV, send it to the customer, utilize it as a leave behind. And then sort of if we go on the MITRE ATT&CK, you can kind of walk through when it did its reconnaissance, it used these 11 techniques. When it did a resource development, it used this 8 initial access, these 11. Again, pretty engaging. Customers really love to kind of see this stuff. It makes for a very compelling demo. Finally, and again, I apologize, I'm speed running at this point, really. You can generate reports. Let's make an executive report from this engagement. And you can see 3 critical, 8 high, 14 medium, 6 of 9 objectives, key findings, Yoruba initial access point, some known CSVs, MITRE ATT&CK engaged in. Anyway, it's really compelling. So, I'm going to end it there because I've really run out of time and I went too long. But I do want to thank you guys for giving us this time.
Thank you, Tim.
And yeah, I will hand it back to Abdes really quickly, see if there are any questions.
Thank you very much for that. I can feel and hear the passion. Very impressive to see what Strike 48 has built, and there's way more to come. I have I have a bunch of questions, but let's cover a few to start with. So one first question was, what kind of inputs are needed to get started, for example, and how quickly can you generate the first findings?
Yeah, you need effectively nothing. It will do the full discovery for you. So if you walked in with your laptop, Strike hit already on your laptop, and you plug into the Wi-Fi network, you're off and running. At that point, you can just set the scope and execute the engagements. You really don't need. I walked you through a comprehensive sort of buildup of what it would take, and you could have that saved and just go into random customer networks and run it again and again and again, and it will work every time. And you really just don't need anything from the customer. Now, if the customer is really willing to let you engage in their internal network and you're not doing this against the external or you're not doing this against the guest network, then you want to talk to them about scoping. Scoping becomes the important issue because if you let this thing run wild, it will compromise machines. It will embed pivot points. It will go on to the next network, which is compelling, hugely valuable to an end customer, but also potentially off-putting. So you need to talk that scoping with the end customer, but you really don't need anything to get started.
Great. And another question, Tim, is do you see this more as an entry point for larger projects or as a standalone ongoing capability?
I mean, what I'm pitching to you guys as a partner is that I'm really just trying to give you another tool that you can utilize to establish credibility. So my hope is it is an entry point to any number of different services. Maybe it's an entry point just to the pen testing, vulnerability scanning, regular sort of service that's sort of naturally an outspringing of this product. But it is our hope that it establishes you guys as the credible figure, not only in security, but also in the agenticization of security. And that leads to the customer giving you its trust, and we can then together add a whole lot of value across the IT stack. So we'll have to see how it develops, but my hope is it is an entryway into much larger projects.
Great. We have a few more, but let's just, in the interest of time, one more question. That's a very interesting one. How easy is it for customers to integrate this into their existing security workflows?
Oh, it takes nothing. I mean, specific, especially by the way, if you have the Strike 48 solution as part of their security infrastructure, this feeds directly into it. So you could be building alerts off of this. You could be deploying patches off of this. You can really seamlessly integrate this, certainly into the Strike 48 agentic solutions, but also into the broader platform. Because again, you can generate all those reports really simply, and you could have this be a scheduled activity. You saw it's fully embedded in the Strike 48 agentic solution. You can schedule a job to have it run every X period, whatever, and just produce the reports for the customer or generate the incremental alerts that then feed into their SIM to protect against the vulnerabilities the red teaming exercise found. So I really think it can be integrated into a number of spots, but really seamlessly within the existing Strike 48 agentic portfolio.
Great, Tim. Thank you very much for that. I think whoever has more questions, they can reach out to us directly. There will be more sessions. As everyone can see here, whoever signs up within the next 10 days will get a Strike 48 polo shirt. So please register, give us feedback, test, and then the shirt will be on its way. And please also give us input on any other topics that you want us to cover, as discussed at the beginning. Watch out for emails coming from our marketing group for the recordings, as well as for upcoming webinars. We have really interesting topics. You will be excited to see these. And with that, Tim, thank you very much for this exciting session. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And you all have a great evening and morning, and speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.